What's up everyone? Back with another lens review. Did Sigma just save the L-mount alliance? Let's find out. All right guys, we're back and we're with one of our favorite cameras here on Tech 360, the Lumix S1R. An L-mount camera. There's also the Leica SL. And it's safe to say that the L-mount alliance has had a little bit of a bumpy road over the past number of months, right? The Leica SL, of course, and the CL and the TL2, these are some of the first L-mount cameras on the market. Actually, they are the first L-mount cameras on the market. Then Panasonic came into the mix earlier this year with the S1, the S1R, and of course, the recently released S1H. But when it came to lenses, that was a different story, and also price points on bodies. Because of course, the Leica SL and the CL and the TL2 are priced at a premium. And then when you get into the lenses, that's also at a premium. Now it's Leica, fair to say, and they make phenomenal glass, but not every photographer can afford every piece of glass that they make. So then Panasonic comes into the mix with the two cameras, the S1 and the S1R, and their lenses were priced at a premium. Of course, 2 out of 3 were Leica certified, and that comes at a price point as well, but the cameras were priced higher than the competition. The lenses were priced higher than a lot of the competition. So a lot of people were a little bit apprehensive to get into the L-mount alliance. Sigma, they came out, they said, look, we got some lenses coming out. We have the smallest full frame L-mount camera coming to market, but they recently released 3 L-mount lenses that if you were on the fence before about getting into this system, you won't be after trying these out. Let's get down to talking about them right now. First, on the S1R, I've got the 45 f2.8 DGDN. This is a contemporary lens by Sigma. It's a new lens. I love it. This is with the lens hood on, but look at this. It's short, it's light, it's a little over 200 grams, 55-inch diameter for the filter thread on it, manual focus, auto focus. It's got a little bit of that retro vibe to it. But at the same time, the build quality is just, you know Sigma build quality, right? I mean, if you thought that, yeah, the price points of the lenses are less than Leica and Panasonic, but do they sacrifice on build quality? No, not at all. This feels beautiful on the camera, and the image quality is it's what you're gonna want. This is a perfect street lens camera. Let's talk about what's inside this lens. 8 elements, 7 groups. As I mentioned before, 55mm for the thread for any sort of filter that you want on it. 215 grams. It's a light lens. It's light, but the build quality is just there. I mean, this goes from f2.8 to f22. Rounded aperture blades. Beautiful bokeh out of this lens. Great separation. Your subjects just pop in the frame. I mean, you think 2.8 is it so? This really doesn't act like a 2.8. It acts more like a 2.0 when you look at the images. It really is a phenomenal piece of glass. And this is only the contemporary line. But I would say, and I've had a lot of friends try this on the Leica SL and of course the S1R, and this has to be one of their favorite lenses because it's so small, it's easy to take around with you, and if you just want to go shoot in quick autofocus, you can't go wrong with this lens. Anyway, we're gonna look at images in Lightroom in just a bit, but I'm gonna go through all the lenses, all the specs for you. Next, let's talk about the wide angle zoom, the 1424 f2.8. And with the magic of editing, of course, we've got the 1424 f2.8 art lens L-mount for Sigma. Now, when you gotta convert to L-mount, I just wanna put this out there for any of these lenses, because you might have seen these in prior and Canon and Nikon mounts. It's not just changing the back mounting of this thing. There's a whole, you have to change the elements, how they're lined up, everything changes in these lenses, okay? So this is almost in some way a partial reconstruction of the lens for it to fit on L-mount. So anyway, this is the widest angle zoom lens available for any L-mount camera. The closest is Leica for the SL. 16 to 35 at 3.5 to 4.5. Bit of a slow lens. For the Sigma, 14 to 24 f2.8. Straight across. Art lens. You got 18 elements, 13 groups, 3 aspherical elements, 1 FLD element, 5 SLD elements. This is a phenomenal lens. It weighs about approximately 800 grams. It's not the lightest lens, but comparing it to the SL at 1635, this is much more easier to carry around, okay? Build quality, just like I was talking about the 45 f2.8, it's right up there with it. This lens Looks beautiful on the S1R, the S1. It looks great on the Leica SL. You've got autofocus, manual focus. It's a beautiful lens. It's a beautiful lens. And look at this, internal zoom, no telescopic. If you want to use this on a gimbal, you can use it. I mean, the edges are sharp to sharp. I mean, it's just a stunning lens. Honestly, you want a wide angle lens for the L mount? I mean, if you want to pay Leica prices, get the 1635 f3.5 and 4.5. But if you want a faster lens for, I would say, maybe a quarter of the price, Sigma, baby. You can't go wrong with it. Okay, now we're gonna move on to what could be one of my favorite 35s ever on a camera. The 35 1.2 art lens. You know, we all love a good 35 in our lives. And a few weeks ago, I reviewed the Tamron 35 1.4, right? And I said, that was the best autofocus 35 I've used to date. It's a great lens, it's a phenomenal lens. But I kind of think I found one better. Yeah, the 35 1.2 art lens by Sigma L mount. Now it comes with FE mount for you Sony users out there. So Sigma Sony showing you guys some love, giving you a faster lens that Sony didn't want to give you. Sigma gave it to you. You got to thank them for that. Also, for the L mount alliance, Sigma delivered as well. It's not a light lens. This lens, when you look at it on the camera, it looks like it's a 75 or a 85, but it's a 35. It's 1,090 grams, 17 elements, 12 groups, 3 spherical elements, and then you got a bunch of SLD elements in there as well too. I mean, this is a beast of a lens. The filter diameter is like 82 millimeters, so it's big, right? I mean, look at this thing. But man, this is one hell of a 35. At 1.2, it's sharp. Now, it's just got a thin focal plane. I mean, it's just your focus length is like right here. But man, when it hits, it's pin sharp. Beautiful bokeh. I mean, just melts away. I mean, what is it to say? You know, I mean, okay, let's talk a little bit about performance. I'm gonna stop drooling for a moment. Couple things to note about the 35 1.2. Now, in theory, the L mount alliance, all lenses should perform optimally on all the cameras, right? I've tested it on the Leica SL and the S1R here. On the S1R, it focuses really quick. It's got that hypersonic autofocus drive motor in it. I love how Sigma's got these names for these things, right? Makes it sound really fast, and it's fast. But on the SL, it's not that fast. Now, this could be internals with the camera. It could be that firmware needs to be updated. But I found that the performance on the S1R was better than the Leica SL to date as I'm shooting this review. Okay, they could change in a firmware update. But right now, on the S1 or the S1R, you're going to love the performance of this lens. Also, one thing to notice about this lens is that it has declicking on this. For you cinema folks out there that don't want that clickable aperture, which sounds so good, by the way, look at, oh, just nice and, ooh, just smooth now, look at that, smooth, smooth. You don't even hear it, do you? It's like air. Then you put the click on. I love this lens, I'm sorry. I know I'm a little bit, it's a little bit wrong for me to drool about a lens, but this lens is really that good. And there's been a lot of reviews out there comparing to the 35 1.4 by Sigma, and I'll tell you what, the 35 1.2, it takes it. Now, in terms of the L mount alliance, other 35s out there, we just have the 35 f2 Apple Cron by Leica, which I think comes in almost triple the price of this. This one, if you don't want to spend the price on the 35 Cron, here you go, baby, right here. 35 1.2, all day long, every day of the week. Just work out a little bit more because it is heavy, okay? You're gonna build some muscles, but it's not a bad thing. We wanna keep in shape. We always recommend being healthy here on Tech 360, and this lens will help you get there. Anyway, let's go to Lightroom. Let's take a look at the photos up close and see how good these lenses perform on the S1R.
Okay, so we are looking at images from the Sigma 35 1.2, 1424, and 45 f2.8. Now, all these images were shot in RAW. They have been edited to some degree just for color boosting, because I did shoot in RAW and it's a much more flatter profile. Okay, let's take a look at the Sigma 35-1.2, which is probably my favorite 35 autofocus lens I've used to date, even over the Tamron 35-1.4, which is a phenomenal lens, but I felt the Sigma was even better. Here's a self-portrait of myself. Now, I shot this at f2 because I needed to get the eyeglass frames in focus, because it is such a thin focal plane on this. But look at the rendering on it. It is a beautiful lens, great fall off here. The bokeh, circular bokeh in the background. Absolutely love this lens. Here's a picture of the new Leica 50 Oppo Summicron for the Leica SL. Love this lens as well. It shoots phenomenally, by the way. But look at the separation here. Great fall off. I'm not really seeing any purple fringing on this lens, on the edges here. It looks really, really good. Here's another product shot here. I shot with the 35-1.2 at 1.2. Again, look at that. It just melts away the background. Absolutely stunning. Now, we wouldn't have a review without an image of Kai Hong, because we always have to have a picture of him. Here's a picture of Kai Hong with the 35-1.2. Let's zoom in on the eye. Look at this. Look how sharp this is. A little bit of purple fringing here on the eyeglass frame, easily correctable in Lightroom. There's no issues with that at all. But look at that. That's some great detail right there. Okay, let's move on to the 1424 f2.8. Now, this is a really impressive wide-angle zoom lens. Now, the 1424 has been in the Sigma lineup for a while, but since it's been brought into the L mount and FE mount, there has been some redesigning going on there, so it has been improved. Now, let's take a look at this sunrise shot at Marina Bay Sands. I shot this in RAW at f13, 23 millimeters here, and it's a beautiful image. I mean, look at this. There's no distortion on the sides of this at all. It looks really good. But I want to show you this image because this is very interesting for those who want to shoot in high resolution mode on a Panasonic S1R. And you want to see how large can the image get? Well, take a look at this. This is a TIFF file, because what I did is I took this image, I brought it into Photoshop, did some dodge and burn, of course, boosted the saturation a little bit in the sky and everything else like that, brought it back into Lightroom, and it's 1 gigabyte for an image. This screen is not going to show the detail that this image has on it. I will impose an image right here as a JPEG just to kind of give you a close-up to show you what this camera can capture at this size. It is very impressive. Okay, now let's take a look at some environmental shots here with the 1424. This was over near the Parliament House in Singapore. Now, this was shot in portrait mode, but as you can see here, look at the edges here, no distortion at all. It looks really good. Here's another shot here of buildings shooting up into the sky. The lines are straight, everything looks really good. Continue on. It's just a really impressive lens. Okay, now let's take a look at the 45 f2.8, which is going to be a lot of people's favorite L-mount lens for street photography, for just daily usage. It's small, it's light, and it renders really well. It's a contemporary lens, it's not an art lens, so it might not be as sharp, but it is still a fairly sharp lens. Here's a picture of my friend Richard here with the 45 f2.8. Look at the separation in the background on this. It really is impressive for 2.8, almost feels like a 2.0 in some degrees. It really looks good, and as you can see, a lot of great detail in his face. Now, this was shot indoors, a little bit of noise. Now, the S1R is privy to some of this, but you know what? Still a very usable image. Here's a picture of myself with the 45 f2.8. Again, no issues with this this lens at all. Here's some street photography with it. Now, this image wasn't sharp, but I wanted to get it because it says happy kids here, and the kid obviously isn't happy, but I just love the his expression, so I decided to include that in here. And let's take a look at some dessert shots here, because you know everybody likes to shoot food nowadays. Why not do it with this expensive of a setup? But look at the detail here on this dessert. You can see it right here in the frosting or whatever it might be, the topping on it, even to the cake. It looks beautiful. Look at the fall off in the background. Absolutely love this lens. And just another street shot here. It's fairly sharp. You're going to love it if you ever get your hands on this lens. And overall, so these are my thoughts on the 45 f2.8, 1424, and of course the 35-1.2. This is a very strong lineup from Sigma, And as I said before in this review, these lenses, in a way, do save the L-mount alliance.
So, you saw the photos, they don't lie. These lenses are all great performers at a price range that I think a lot of people are going to like, they're gonna enjoy, and especially if you're a working photographer. You need to make your money back on the equipment that you buy, right? And look, I'm a big fan of Leica glass out there. I will tell you, they do phenomenal lenses, some of the best lenses in the world. But not everybody has the means to afford every single lens that Leica makes for the L-mount alliance. And Panasonic, fantastic lenses they got out with so far. They only got 3, but they've been great. Come at a premium. But what Sigma's doing right now, in a way, they've saved the L-mount alliance. They're bringing high quality glass, great build quality at a price that a lot of people, even though it's still priced at a premium for a lot of people, and you're not sacrificing quality. Is it as good as Leica? That's hard to say. I've shot with a number of Leica lenses back to back with this, and I'm looking at my images in Lightroom, and I don't see a discernible difference where I'm going, look, you know what, if I can't afford that Leica glass, am I gonna be losing out? No, you're not. Sigma really has delivered, and to me, Sigma, I think they just saved the L-mount alliance. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Sigma L-mount lenses. I do want to thank APD Singapore, who are the distributors for Sigma here. I want to thank Panasonic Singapore for allowing us to use the S1R, but they did not pay for this review. These are our thoughts and our thoughts only. As you can tell, I'm a big fan. Anyway, smash that subscribe button, follow us on Facebook. Until the next one, take care.